Sean Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, we'll be comparing two juicers head to head to find out which juicer is the better juicer and which juicer is the one you may want to buy. So both these juicers I'll be showing you guys today are best-selling juicers. This guy over here is the Hamilton Beach Big Mouth Juicer, and it is the best-selling on Amazon at present time. It fluctuates between sales position 1 and sales position 2, and the other one that's in the other position is usually another juicer that looks very similar to this. These are known as high-speed centrifugal ejection style juicers. The technology used on these juicers, man, they must go back like 40 years or something like that. They've been out for a long time. So has dated technology, but it still works well and has lots of benefits. One of the benefits being the lower price point. Over on the other side, this is the best-selling juicer that we sell at DiscountJuicers.com. To let you guys know who I am, I review all the major brand juicers, usually only the high-end ones, but sometimes I like to throw in a low-end one to kind of show you guys that are considering buying a low-end juicer what you're getting, because I want you guys to spend your money smart. I want you guys to use your money smart, and instead of buying like a throwaway juicer, you know, get a good quality juicer that's going to last. Of course, the other thing I'm going to tell you guys is that each juicer has its own sets of pros and cons, and depending on your needs and your specific values and what you're juicing and what your goals are, will partly determine whether you want to get the Nama J2 or the Hamilton Beach Big Mouth. The Nama J2 juicer's claim to fame is that it makes juicing so much easier than any juicer preceding and gets a very high yield on juicing a variety of different kinds of produce items, right? This style machine could juice things like leafy greens quite well. It could juice things like root vegetables and does quite a good job on juicing fruits. Meanwhile, over on the Hamilton Beach or other high-speed juicers, linked down below to the video I did comparing the Nama J2 against the Breville Juice Fountain, probably the other high-end, you know, fast centrifugal ejection juicer on the market. These guys really specialize at juicing things like root vegetables. So, I mean, it actually makes quite a high yield on things like carrots and beets. On fruits that are nice and firm, it does a so-so job. On soft fruits, it basically leaves your pulp super wet. On leafy greens, it's very ineffective. And I know you guys that have done your research have seen how much nutrition is in the leafy greens. You know, it's so much nutrition that even people on a paleo diet want to juice more greens. And if you want to do that, I don't recommend this style machine, because basically here's what's going to happen. You're going to put a lot of greens through there and you're going to get very little juice. Most of the juice is going to come out in the pulp, and you're going to be basically throwing your money away because you decided to save some money on buying an inexpensive juicer from the get-go. That being said, you know, the main pro of this style juicer is that it is a fast juicer. It juices super fast, so if you're always time rushed, right, this might be a good unit for you to buy, but be aware that you're going to get the lowest juice quality of any style juicer that's out there, in my opinion, compared to like a slow juicer that gets some of the highest nutrition in the glass and will make a much higher yield for you. Of course, this juicer costs a fair bit more than the Hamilton Beach, but the other thing I will say is that if you guys are experimenting and kind of sticking your toes in the water with juicing and you're not sure that you want to do it for the rest of your life, hey, this might be a good first juicer. But then I'll tell you guys, once you get tired of this, once you get tired of seeing all the wet pulp that comes out, tasting the juice that doesn't taste good as your local juice bar, then you're going to want to upgrade. And when you upgrade, then you're going to want to get something like the Nama J2. That's more of a high-end juicer. You know, people are into their sports cars, their watches, and all these things. And, you know, the Nama J2 is like the high-end sports car, and this is kind of like buying, I don't know, a VW Beetle. Do they still even make those? So, you know, but they both juice, you know. So those are the pros and cons. I think what I want to do in this video is we're going to do a few tests for you guys. We're going to go ahead and do a sound test to show you guys which one is louder. This is very important if you need to juice in the morning before your family or roommates or you have neighbors with thin walls get up, because one of these juicers is a lot more quiet than the other. Another thing we'll be doing is we'll be doing actual yield testing between the two juicers to show you guys which juicer makes more yield and how much more yield it makes in one of my famous juice off comparisons, so you can see the results you get. You know, and maybe this one will beat the NAMA J2. It's highly unlikely, but you know, it's probably not going to get as much. But how much less are you losing? Are you losing only 10% juice? Are you losing 30%, 40%? I don't know. We're going to find out in this episode. But before we get started with all that, I want to really share with you guys the differences between these machines, because how they operate is so critical. Because I want you guys to understand how they work, so you could better understand, you know, why a slow juicer is super superior than a high-speed juicer. So I think first we'll start with the Hamilton Beach unit. Hamilton Beach, I think it's funny in their advertising, they say it has a powerful 800-watt motor that maximizes your yield. And I'm like, that's just a reaching statement. On some items, yes, like root vegetables, it will get a good yield. But in other fruits and vegetables and leafy greens, it's going to get a terrible yield. So I think that's a little bit misadvertising right there personally. But you know, I've just been selling juicers online since 1995 and testing them online for you guys. I have more videos on testing juicers than anybody else in the world, and I probably ran more produce through juicers on YouTube than anybody else in the world at this point. And so, you know, that's why I make these videos, because I want you guys to be an informed customer. That's the most important thing to me, and the reason is this, is because my life was changed by juicing. I got into juicing because of failing health. I almost lost my life in the hospital, and I came home, the doctor said they had no treatment for me, and I needed to basically find out what I could do on my own to basically rebuild my immune system so that I wouldn't get sick and succumb to disease or illness after that. And so that's when I found juicing. Juicing was my first step into making other major dietary changes, but juicing allowed me to maximize the quantity of fruits and vegetables that I get into me. And of course, even the USDA says half of your plate when you eat should be fruits and vegetables. And how many of you guys could truly say that, right? That's why I love juicing so much. Juicing allows you to put a whole bunch of fruits and vegetables in there, and hopefully you guys juice mostly leafy green vegetables and other vegetables, and then drink a juice so you could basically surpass the USDA recommendations of half your plate, because you are basically supercharging your fruit and vegetable consumption through juicing in a more easy to assimilate way that your body can digest much quicker, and according to scientific studies have higher levels of certain phytonutrients such as beta carotene in your blood when you juice carrots, for example, then you eat them. So that's really the benefit of juicing that I see. And if you guys enjoy my videos and my educational work that I do, I would encourage you guys to support me and my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. That being said, I'm also here for you to save you guys some money. I know the NAMA J2 is a little bit expensive. You know, it's a fair bit more expensive than the Hamilton Beach, but I want to save you guys $55 off your purchase price so that you guys could afford the NAMA J2. So if you put the coupon code UPGRADE55, that's UPGRADE55, because I want you guys to upgrade from the Hamilton Beach or less expensive juicer to a good quality juicer. That's going to save you guys $55 off your purchase of the NAMA J2. So you want to use that coupon code at namawell.com. And the other thing I want to let you guys know is that they have a firm payment. So what does that mean? That means you can break up your payments of the juicer into several payments. And they have a couple different options for you. But one of those options includes 0 interest. So you can make time payments on it so that you could actually afford it and pay it, you know, every 2 weeks so that you could afford the juicer and get a good one that's literally going to be with you for your lifetime. The factory that's been making the NAMA J2 has been making juicers for over 20 years, and I think one of the juicers I have made in that factory is probably like over 15, maybe pushing 20 years old now, and it's still operating fine. They make high quality juicers that are really durable and will last, whereas, you know, a lot of the machines such as the Hamilton Beach are made in China, and in my opinion, they're simply throwaway juicers. You use them for a couple years, after the warranty expires, it probably breaks, and then you got to basically chuck it. With the NAMA J2, it has actually a full 15-year warranty on the motor base, whereas the Hamilton Beach only has a 3-year warranty on the motor base. That being said, the parts on the Hamilton Beach have an impressive 3-year warranty on the juicer parts, whereas the NAMA J2 only has a 2-year warranty on the juicer parts. And I'll be honest with you guys, the most likely part to fail on the juicer is not the motor on the J2. Maybe it is on the Hamilton Beach because I don't have any experience with that. But the parts are the most likely things to fail. And NAMA has parts available for a pretty low cost if you guys need replacements of some common pieces or parts that break. That being said, I've been assured by the president of NAMA that they are always looking out for their customers and that they will take care of customers after the warranty expires to some extent. I don't know how long that's going to last or whatever, but I'm confident with NAMA that they will take care of you. They are a customer service focused company and have some of the highest level of customer service in the juicing industry. So I'll put links down below so that you guys could get the upgrade 55 coupon at namaweld.com. Now when you use that coupon code at NAMA, NAMA knows that it came from me and they'll give me a small commission or a portion of the sales so that I can continue my work making these comparison videos for you guys. So I appreciate you guys so much that use my code so I can continue to make my videos, so I can continue to educate the world about the power of juicing, and hopefully my goal in the end is to just get every person in America juicing. So help me out. You can help yourself out too by getting your juicer today at namaweld.com. Of course, if you guys want to get it at full price at my website, discountjuicers.com, we don't offer that $55 off coupon. That'll benefit me more directly. And then I'm also there to hold your hand to answer any questions that you may have after your sale, and also to ensure you get customer service from NAMA and warranty service should you have a parts failure. I'm there to make sure they take care of my customers, and I go to bat for my customers whenever needed when there is a legitimate warranty claim that is not being honored by the manufacturer. And this goes with all the different brands I offer. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this comparison. So once again, this is the Hamilton Beach Big Mouth Juicer. This is what is called a centrifugal ejection juicer. And I'll explain how this works. So how this works is they have 2 clamps on the side, so you can take this machine apart. You have a 3-inch pusher because you have a 3-inch wide feed chute, and that's probably this machine's claim to fame. It has a nice large feed chute, so basically if you get apples that are under 3-inch diameter, you can just push those in whole. There's no pre-cutting of things into small little bits like on a lot of juicers. Actually, this is a fairly heavy-duty part for being such an inexpensive juicer, and actually I'm kind of impressed because I think this is made out of the BPA-free Triton material, so that's good. Anyways, this is the heart of the juicer here. This is known as the juicing screen and blade assembly. Be forewarned that this blade assembly, it has like a shredder disc, kind of like when you're shredding carrots for a salad, a little bit of juice will come out. This actually micro shreds the carrots or other produce you put in, so it basically shreds in at the same time as shredding it. Juice is released and cell walls are kind of open, but not really, because you're just making fine shreds out of produce. So once again, this works for some produce types and not others. Meanwhile, after the juice is flung out, this thing is spinning really fast. Hamilton Beach does not publish the RPMs that I could find, but I can only estimate this is running somewhere between 10,000 and 14,000 revolutions per minute. That's quite fast. And when you have a fast juicer, it's good because you can be done quick, but it's bad because it basically is injecting a lot of oxygen into the juice and oxidizing it, lowering beneficial phytonutrients, especially things like polyphenols and oxygen-sensitive vitamins. So then anyways, this is spinning around really fast. The juice gets flung out these little micro holes into this juicing bowl and then comes out the spout in the front, and the pulp that is generated gets kicked out into the bin in the back. Meanwhile, all the juice gets flung into this bowl, and this is a juicing bowl. And this piece seems a little bit tinny to me, not quite as high quality as the top cover there. And luckily there's not too many curvatures or places or nooks and crannies in this to clean. There's a few there. Anyways, the juice gets flung out into here and then comes out the spout in the front, usually with some force. And there's some air behind it, and that's once again oxidizing the juice. Not my favorite style juicer. Maybe like when I got into juicing back in the 1990s, this was kind of state of the art back then. But these days, technology has so far advanced since the the 1990s. And then of course you have your motor base. Actually, this is a fairly heavy motor base for a unit made in China. So Hamilton Beach is a company actually I trust. So this is a fairly good motor base, 800 watts of power. Pretty solid if you ask me. So yeah, so this mainly works by grating things up and then shredding it and getting some juice out when the produce is being shredded. To me, that's not the best way to basically extract juice. I guess let's go ahead and reassemble this. So to assemble this, you take the bowl, put that right on. You then take the shredding disc and screen, drop that in the machine, spin it down, locks in place. You can go ahead and take your top and line that up. And then snap these clamps down. 1, 2, and you are all assembled and ready to juice. You gotta put your pusher in there. You will need the pusher, and you always want to have this pusher in place when juicing, otherwise things can fly out of the top for you. Meanwhile, over on the NAMA J2, this is known as a vertical single auger juicer. Some people may call this a masticating juicer. I personally do not call this a masticating juicer. Masticating juicers, in my opinion, are inferior to a slow juicer that has an auger that basically grinds up and breaks open more cell walls to release more nutrition at a much slower speed. So the NAMA J2's claim to fame is not that it has a feed chute that's a little bit larger than some of the other feed chutes on vertical juicers, but the claim to fame is actually that it has a hopper that you access by basically opening up this lid, and now you can fill up all the produce in here, shut the lid, and literally walk away and let the juicer work without you having to babysit it. Much like a Keurig coffee machine. Just put the Keurig cup in a Keurig, then press the button and you walk away and it makes your coffee automatically. Literally, all you gotta do on this juicer is fill it up, shut the lid, turn it on, walk away, and the juicer will make your juice automatically. So in this way, it technically saves you time because now your time is free. You don't have to sit there and push items in the produce or have it splash back up at you. And then it has a built-in processing blade that I'll show you guys in here, which is the first stage. So this does all the pre-cutting. I don't know if you guys can see that moving in there. This does all the pre-cutting of the produce for you so that you don't have to. Other vertical juicers, you got to cut up things like celery and greens into small little pieces, or the machine could jam and have problems. Plus, you need to drop those items into the machine so you're actively working with the juicer. This is the world's first auto-load juicer that has a traditional juicer screen that works really well based on my testing, and it makes the highest yield. Next step, after it pre-cuts with a processing blade in the hopper, and when you load up this hopper, you could fill it up, depending on what you fill it up with carrots or celery. You'll probably make about 24 ounces of juice, which is actually a nice healthy serving of juice. If you guys want to fill this up with something like watermelon or papaya, you could probably make about a quart of juice in the same area that's filled up, because those produce items have a higher water content, easier to juice. The next step after it pre-cuts is that it drops into this whole contraption here. There's a few parts of this. This is really simple and easy, don't worry about it. Basically, there's an auger in here, or a single screw, and what happens is this screw is rotating around, and as it's rotating, the produce is basically chunked off into smaller pieces by this auger, and then this auger comes around and these little ribs on it crush and squeeze and blow open the cell walls by basically a grinding action, kind of like our teeth moving up and down as it's grinding the food against the kind of the little blades in the juice screen here. And as the juice is expelled at 50 RPMs, because it's being crushed and ground up, cell walls are being blown open. The juice then comes out of the juicing screen sides, which then comes into this bowl at slow speed and then dribbles out of the spout here that you can't close when you're done juicing, so you don't get drips on your counter. I do recommend you leave this open while juicing. The pulp will basically go through this hole and then come out this little spout here, and then when you're done juicing, you could basically flip this little clip. It opens up completely so that you could easily get in here and clean it. There is a little silicone flap that you don't want to lose. You could buy these for a couple bucks. If you do lose it, that keeps back pressure on the pulp to ensure you get a more dry pulp than, say, the high speed machine, which basically once it's ground up, it kicks it out, and it kicks it out really fast because it's moving at 10,000 to 14,000 RPMs. So Nama wants you to get a higher yield and save more money when you're juicing. While the juicer is an investment, over time it will pay for itself because you will get higher yields. Let's talk about some of the other parts here on the juicing screen. There's an outer blades. I don't know if you guys can see those that are spinning around, Imagine if you didn't have a windshield wiper on your car and you're driving on the freeway and it's raining outside, or your windshield wiper is broken. That happened to me. Or worse, your windshield wiper is worn out because all the rubber's cracked and stuff and it fell off because it's too hot and you haven't changed it right. You can't see out the window. Well, unlike the Hamilton Beach that doesn't really wipe down the screen as you're going, it could get clogged up and get off balance. The Nama J2 has this automatic wiping blade made of a silicone wiping blades, which actually high-end automobile windshield wipers are made out of silicone instead of rubber, which degrade in the sun. I have silicone wipers on my car. They work amazingly. They wipe better. Anyways, silicone wiping blades, high-end on cars and on the Nama J2 that spin around that basically will wipe your screen clean and help shuttle the juice out of the machine for you so that, once again, you're going to get a higher yield. And yeah, that's pretty much all the parts here. And so to assemble this, very important, you want to assemble it off the machine. Don't try to put this together and then assemble it because it won't work. You need to assemble it off the machine. This is super easy to assemble. The first step is take your wiping blade, take your juicing screen, and just shove those two together until you can turn this freely. And then you have these tabs on the side of the screen. This is ingenious. They have a small tab and a large tab. And look, that's the small tab. And in the top of this bowl, there's a small tab and a large tab. Only goes in one way, guys. So if you've had problems with 2,000-piece puzzles, you're not going to have a problem with this. Drop it right in, drops right in, take the auger, put it right in. And then this part is the hopper. Very important. You want to properly assemble the hopper. On the back of the bowl, there's this protrusion on the back. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's also a protrusion here. So the protrusions need to line up. So I just kind of line up this with to the side, and then just turn it in place so that these fully line up and make a nice little line. And then you can take your little lid, it's on a little hinge, drop it down, and if you did assemble it properly, you can drop it on the machine and the machine will turn on. Now, one caveat there. I know a lot of you guys get the juicer right out of the box. When you get out of the box, you assemble it, you wash it, then you put it together, and you assemble it with this whole piece here on the back. And you put it together so the handle is over this little piece here, and then you assemble it on there. It looks like it's properly assembled, but then you turn it on, John, my juicer isn't working. And then I get an email, and then I email you the advanced troubleshooting tips video I made so you can get your juicer working, which the first step is make sure you assemble it properly so it turns on. And there's some advanced tips if your juicer isn't working that I've helped every customer that contact me with their machine not working, because it's a rare day that Nama puts out a defective machine because they do high quality control testing before the machines leave the factory. Alright, so there you have it. That is the Nama J2. This is the Hamilton Beach juicer. The next thing I want to do is we're going to go ahead and do a sound test to see how loud each juicer is. I know this is important for many of you guys, and some of you guys are sound sensitive, or once again want to be able to juice in the morning when your family's asleep, or even be juicing in the middle of the day when your neighbor's banging on your wall because the walls are super thin in your apartment complex. Alright, so to do this I have a digital decibel meter, so we're going to go ahead and turn it on. And so with nobody talking, we got a base reading of about 33. Next, let's go ahead and turn on the Nama J2. Alright, we got about 73 on the decibel meter. I encourage you guys not to run your juicer without any produce in it for any significant amount of time, because the produce actually helps to kind of lubricate and put things into the juicer that helps all the parts work better. Next, let's go ahead and test the Hamilton Beach. Wow, that's insane. I mean, seriously guys, you will go deaf using this juicer. I'm not joking, look it up. This was 98 decibels. I think this is one of the loudest juicers I've ever tested, and that must be because this runs at a very fast RPM. I would not doubt that it did not run at 14,000 RPM. 98 decibels versus what? 73 decibels? That's a significant difference. Don't even try to buy this juicer if you have neighbors that are always, upset because you're too loud. They will not be loving you anymore. They'll start hating you. But if you want to piss off your neighbors, get this because it's quite loud. And once again, don't use this in the kitchen in the morning. If you have family sleeping, you're going to wake them up because, like, literally, customers have described juicers like this as an airplane taking off in their kitchen. It is that loud. All right, so the next thing we get to do is we're going to go ahead and do a juice off, my favorite part of the comparison, where I get to juice even amounts of produce for you guys to show you guys how the juicers work and how much juice each juicer will make. So now we're all set up and ready to juice, but first we get to do the weigh-in, so let's make sure we have a fair fight. Today we'll be juicing tomatoes and jicama.
All right, so you guys can see we got the scales set up. Looks like we got like 7 tomatoes and a whole bunch of pre-cut jicama. 7 tomatoes. Over on the Nama J2 side, looks like we got 1850 grams. Over on the Hamilton Beach side, we also have 1850 grams. We'll back up and show you guys both scales at the same time. 1850 grams on both scales. Yes, we got a fair fight.
All right, so let's go ahead and move the scales out of the way and let's get juicing. I think first I'll be juicing today in the Hamilton Beach. It's gonna go super quick and super fast. May get a little bit messy. I should put my earmuffs on, but let's go ahead and turn this machine on. And let's break through some produce. All right, there you go. This is super loud. It's like the loudest juicer I've ever used in my life. It's insane how loud that thing is. I hate it. But as you guys can see, we ripped through that produce in no time. We got a lot of juice, and it doesn't even look red. It looks kind of more white, and there is a lot of foam on that. Next, I want to go ahead and juice in the Nama J2 and show you guys how much easier, how much more of a quiet process, and more importantly, how much of a hands-off process it actually is. Juicing in the Nama J2 is like a dream for me because I juice in bulk, and whether you want to make 1 glass or whether you want to make, 5, 6 quarts like I do, it's going to be a lot easier in the Nama J2 because the juicer does all the work so that you don't have to. So literally we're just going to go ahead and open up this hopper. We're going to go ahead and drop in like 2 tomatoes. At the same time, we want to pre-mix in some of our jicama at the same time. So all that kind of goes through the machine, kind of together instead of separately. Instead of putting like all the tomatoes, letting that process, and then all the jicama, we want to put in a little bit of each and kind of make sure that we got an even distribution of them. The jicama is a root vegetable and it actually helped the tomatoes juice a little bit easier. Looks like we pretty much got that all full, so we're going to go ahead and turn that on and just let the machine work so you guys can see the machine's running. The automatic processing blade is cutting up the produce, feeding it into the machine. As you guys can see, the juice is coming out. It's a lot quieter. I could talk and you guys could actually hear me. And you guys can see the pulp is starting to flow out this side. So while that's working, you could walk away, you could go to the bathroom, you could deal with your kids you're getting ready for school, or in this case, I'm gonna read a book for a little bit. This is Joel Fuhrman's Eat to Live, which if you guys wanna make some dietary changes and eat healthfully, this is definitely the book you guys wanna get. I'm all into how Dr. Fuhrman eats a nutritarian or nutrient-dense diet. And before I even got to read anything, it looks like this hopper is pretty much almost out of produce. So we could basically stop it and load in 2 more tomatoes and load in some more jicama. We're gonna save a bunch of the jicama though to go at the end. Alright, so it looks like we got just some tomatoes in the end, just kind of spinning around in the machine, and now we're gonna finally go ahead and put in the last bits of jicama that'll help the softer tomatoes go through the machine without incident. If you guys want to see how the NAMA J2 works on 4 easy recipes and how long it takes to process a container full, link down below to my video, 4 easy recipes on the NAMA J2. I'll also tell you guys that the NAMA J2 is my favorite juicer, and there's a link down below to my video why the NAMA J2 is my favorite juicer. I test all the major brand juicers and even a few inexpensive ones, and the NAMA J2 is the juicer I personally use most in my house, because it is the easiest to use, makes an exceptionally high quality juice that stores quite well for me. So literally I could get away with juicing like once a week and have juice for the entire week. Link down below to my video if I remember how to store your juices for up to a week. Alright, so once again, in no time the J2 is pretty much done. How will you know when the J2 is done? Well, you'll look at the pulp coming out. If the pulp stops moving as it's coming out and the juice stops dripping out, then you know you're done. I always like to turn off the machine, and actually on both machines we're going to go ahead and tip this up a little bit, see if we get any drops of juice out. And once again, over on the NAMA J2, I like to just go ahead and tip this up, make sure we get any final drips out so we don't waste any juice. Close out spout cap. Now we're going to go ahead and move these juices front and center so you guys can see the results of juicing in both juicers. So now we're going to go ahead and compare the juice that was made in each juicer, and this is the main reason why I won't use a high-speed machine. Everybody knows that the red in tomatoes is due to the lycopene content. There's lots of studies on lycopene and the benefits of the lycopene and the red nutrients in the tomatoes from the lycopene. And if you guys just look at the color of the juices, which one of these juicers have more lycopene? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that the NAMA juicer has more lycopene, because the juice is a lot more deeper, rich red color, whereas the Hamilton Beach juice, it's like really white on the bottom and you got a little bit of red on the top. That's the layering effect due to particulate in the juice and also all the massive aeration in the juice. So yeah, just right off the top, if you're looking for nutrition, because in my opinion, the nutrients in the juice is what causes people to get the benefits from the juice itself, whether you were going for weight loss, disease prevention, you know, helping to get your body healthy. It's these valuable phytonutrients that are the pigments that you will get in greater color when you use a slow juicer, based on some of the science. Another thing I want to compare is the foam. So yes, there is a small foam layer on the NAMA J2. If you guys see that, and just we'll look at the top for you guys to see. Yeah, it puts some air into the juice. I think the tomatoes generally make a more bubblier juice. You know, there's things like saponins in some plant foods that will cause things to foam a little bit more. But meanwhile, if you look at the juice from the Hamilton Beach, I mean, that is completely aerated. You see lots of air bubbles and foam inside this juice. Now we're going to go ahead and compare the yield. So it's kind of hard to see there, but if you look very closely on the lines of the container, looks like we're basically up to 5 cups of juice over on the Hamilton Beach, and it's all different layers, which looks like it's mostly really effective on the jicama, which is the white layer, but it really didn't get a lot of juice out of the tomatoes. Meanwhile, on the NAMA J2, I'm not going to say it hasn't separated at all. You can see definitely there's some, you know, the white color that's still darker than the one over on the Hamilton Beach on the NAMA. But you guys can see that it really extracted a lot of nutrition from those tomatoes, and it's a lot deeper red. Also, if you guys look at the markings on the container, it's gonna be kind of hard to see, but basically we're at about the 6 cup level. So we just kind of just go back, you guys can see there's about 1 cup more of juice made with the NAMA J2. So I do have to say I'm impressed with the yield on the Hamilton Beach. The NAMA J2 actually did make about 16.666% more juice, but this is quite respectable. But what is not respectable to me is the juice quality. Look at all that separation of the juice. Once again, to remind you guys, here's the juice in the NAMA J2, much more deeper, rich, red color, more lycopene to get you those benefits from the lycopene when you're juicing. And if you're going to take the time to juice, please guys, you know, use a juicer that's going to get more nutrition out so that you guys get greater benefit. You know? To me, this is not really doing a full and complete job because you're getting a lot of the nutrients being left in the pulp. So actually, that's what I want to do next. We're going to go ahead and show you guys the pulp from both juicers. We got 2 trays here. First, we're going to take the Nama J2 pulp, drop that down in there, and I want you guys to look at that pulp in a second when I compare it to the pulp from the Hamilton Beach. You guys can see all the pulp stuck in there, and then most of the pulp actually came into the pulp collection bin in the back. And this is a much more messier pulp to deal with. You can see it's all just like in there, and there's little flecks everywhere. And look at this pulp bin. I dumped out the pulp and it's pretty much clean. So that's amazing. So, oh, my hands are messed up. So look at this, guys. I mean, seriously, look at this. This will tell you, aside from the color of the juice, to make sure I'm not making something up. Look at these pulps. You tell me which one has more lycopene contained within it, right? You don't have to be a rocket science once again to say this one has more lycopene. This pulp is significantly more red than this pulp where all the lycopene was extracted and put into the juice, right? I mean, people still get benefits from using a high-speed machine, but what if they could get twice as many benefits because they got twice as much lycopene, in my estimation, maybe even more, because they use the proper juicer that extracts more of those valuable phytochemicals, whether it's lycopene, whether it's zeaxanthin or lutein or anthocyanins, right? A slow juicer, in my opinion, extracts far more of these beneficial phytochemicals than a high-speed machine. I mean, look at that pulp. Super red, right? And the other thing about this pulp here, right? Look at this. There's little bits of tomato skin, and a lot of the nutrition in the tomato is in the skin. You know, here's big flecks of skin that just like got flung out of the machine that did not even get processed. I think I saw some little pieces of jicama, right, that just got flung out that didn't even get processed either. So insane that this machine leaves so many pieces like that literally just did not get juice. This is really the inefficiency. As much as it got a lot of liquid or water content out, it's not extracting the good nutrition that's in the fruits and vegetables for your benefit. To me, this is just insane, the difference. So one of the things I love to do to show you guys the inefficiency of the Hamilton Beach juicer is we're going to go ahead and put these 2 juices to the side. But what I want to do is we're going to go ahead and take the pulp of the Hamilton Beach juicer, put it through the Nama to see if the Nama could grind it up and wring out some of those leftover phytonutrients and get more pigment out of the wet pulp, because the Hamilton Beach was not that efficient. So we're just going to go ahead and dump this pulp into the Nama J2 to see if the juicer could even extract the pulp, and more importantly, how much extra juice will the Nama J2 make. So we got all the tomato in there. We're just going to go ahead and follow that by putting the rest of this jicama in there. Alright, let's go ahead and turn the Nama J2 on, and let's see if the Nama is able to press out more juice out of the Hamilton Beach pulp. Alright, so I do have to say that took some finagling for sure to kind of get all that softer pulp to kind of feed into the juicer. The problem was a lot of the pulp felt stuck to the sides and would not just drop in due to the wetness and texture of the pulp. So I had to kind of help push it in there. And it finally worked, finally made it happen. And now I want to show you guys the difference. So here's the original pulp that came out of the Nama J2. And here's the pulp from the Hamilton Beach that came out of the Nama J2. After we put it back through, you can see it's much more compacted, much more wrung out. And where'd that lycopene go that was in here previously, right? It's pretty much gone now because the lycopene is out of the pulp, showing you guys the superior grinding action of the Nama J2. And all that lycopene actually went into the juice. So I want to go ahead and pour the rest of this juice out. And look at this juice, guys. I am not joking. Actually, you know what? We almost have a full cup extra of juice. And look at the color of this juice. This juice is actually a nice, deep red juice. So now the NAMA J2 was even effective at grinding up the pulp from the Hamilton Beach and extracting the lycopene that the Hamilton Beach left in and make almost another cup of juice. That is completely impressive. Now that is the main reason why you guys want to upgrade to the NAMA J2, aside from, you know, being more quiet, aside from being a hands-off juicer. You load up the little feed chute, you walk away, it juices, so you don't have to sit there and push produce into the machine. Last thing I'd like to do for you guys today is we're going to go ahead and do a taste test of the different juices that I've created. Alright, so you guys can see over time what happened to the juices. Over time, the NAMA J2 juice pretty much kind of looking how it was for the most part. Meanwhile, over on the Hamilton Beach juice, looks like to me it even separated out more, and now there's even a smaller layer of concentrated tomato juice, and most of it is the jicama juice on the bottom. And then you can see we have the third juice that basically we put the pulp from the Hamilton Beach through the NAMA. We get a nice deep rich red juice. First, let's go ahead and try the Hamilton Beach juice. And when we pour this off, we're kind of pouring off the bottom with getting a little bit of the tomato in it. So you guys can see it's a really light juice, showing me that it was not effective getting the red pigments out. That's an amazingly good juice. I will say, actually, I do taste the tomato juice, but not like the lycopene, because the jicama has kind of a more hard taste. It's quite interesting. I mean, the texture is good. To me, this juice tastes like really watery. I'm not tasting a lot of flavor in it. Yeah, but I have no reference point. So now let's go ahead and get a reference point of the NAMA J2 juice. Once again, when we pour this off, nice and consistent color on it as we pour it. Nice and red. Wow, I do feel the difference now. So the difference is this. You ever have like a V8 and it's a little bit thick? Like this juice is more thick. Whereas this kind of extracted kind of just the water of the juice. This actually got more nutrients and it's kind of like more thick. I don't know, that's how the mouthfeel is like different. Plus I definitely taste more of the tomato flavor than the first juice. The texture is fine. I'm not going to say it's like a smoothie, but there is some particulate in there, which in my opinion is some of the nutrition you know, in probably the tomatoes. Like that tastes way better than this juice. I mean, which one of these guys would you like to drink? You tell me. All right, finally we're gonna go for the pressed out juice pulp from the Hamilton Beach. We're gonna go ahead and try this. Let's see how this tastes. Interesting. That juice is a little bit warm, actually. And both these juicers will not heat the juice significantly. In my last test where I compared a high speed to a NAMA, they both heated the juice like 3 degrees, so that's not significant enough to do any damage. What is significant though is the oxidation and the grinding, which was not really super effective on the Hamilton Beach. This juice here, the repress, I mean, once again, it tastes more watery like this juice, and there's more texture in it, like, you know, more pulp fragments inside the juice. Good nonetheless. So if I had to rate the juices, I'd say I like the NAMA J2 juice the most. It was a more full-bodied, I got more of the tomato flavor in there. Next, actually, I like the repressed juice, which is a lot stronger than the more watery juice of just the Hamilton Beach juicer. And that's all I got for you guys today. Now you guys learned how the high-speed juicers work. Whether you guys get a Hamilton Beach, a Breville, or another off-brand that looks just like the Hamilton Beach that has a high-speed spinning blade, that shreds and basically kicks out the produce into the back hopper, kicks out the juice in the front. You will always get a more aerated juice than other slow juicer styles. You're generally going to get less yield on especially things like fruits and leafy greens, although on root vegetables you may get a fairly good yield. But the problem is, to me, it's not extracting those valuable phytochemicals and phytonutrients out of the produce you're juicing, and you're going to get less yield, which means in the end your cheap juicer is going to cost you money, because you're wasting produce and you're not getting the benefits of the valuable plant phytonutrients that are in there. So for that reason, I'm going to have to declare the winner of this episode, the Nama J2 juicer. Not only did it make more juice, not only was it a higher quality juice, not only does the motor have a full 15-year warranty on it to ensure that you will be having a working juicer for a long time, you also can do those affirm payments, so you don't have to pay for the juicer all at once. You could pay it off in a payment plan with no added interest is one of the options. There's a few options you guys could choose, so check out them when you check out at namawell.com. And of course, please use my coupon code UPGRADE55 to save $55 off the Nama J2, because I want you guys to get the upgrade, to upgrade from that inexpensive juicer that's not going to give you the results you want when juicing. Plus, you're going to have a juicer that you guys could use in the future, use for your family, you and your family, to make a more significant impact in your guys' health, weight loss journey, or your goals that you are trying to achieve when juicing. What I know from studying a lot of different published studies is that it's all about the phytonutrients in the food, and that's why it is critical for me to use a juicer that extracts higher levels of phytonutrients than lower. And I hope that message in this video today sunk into you, and you kind of better understand now why you might not want to get an inexpensive juicer, even though it does cost less, right? Not the best idea, if you really have your health in mind and your health is important to you. I mean, one of the sayings I like is, your health is your greatest wealth. So instead of investing all your money in stocks, hey, why don't you invest your money in something that's going to do you a lot more good, a juicer, so you guys get higher quality juice, and in the end, you guys could get healthier and be a higher quality person. So if you guys enjoyed this episode learning about the two different juicers, hey, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. Get this video out to more people so I can educate more people about the power of juicing and how different juicers work, because manufacturers don't really tell you all these little fine points that I'll tell you guys as the world's #1 juicer expert that is actually self-proclaimed due to all my videos online, and I've juiced thousands of pounds of produce over all these years I've been juicing, and I continue to make more videos on juicers than anybody else on the planet. Also, be sure to share this video with somebody else so that you save them from buying a Hamilton Beach or other inexpensive high-speed juicers, so that they can learn the true difference. Because I mean, you're not going to read this in one of the reviews, because most people have never juiced before, so this machine appears to be just fine, right? Take it from a juicing expert. Go with the Nama J2. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new and upcoming episodes. I've coming out every 5 to 7 days. You never knew what new juicers I'll be comparing, or what new juice knowledge bombs I'll be dropping on you. And make sure you click the little bells to get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are wealth of knowledge. I have over 600 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to comparing and contrasting all the different major brand juicers so that you guys can get the right juicer for you the first time. I put links down below in the description to some of the other videos that I've made with the Nama J2, including the original unboxing video, comparing it to other different juicers out there, why it's my favorite juicer, the 4 easy recipe demo that I like to do, why I like this juicer the most for juicing fruits, because it actually does the best of all slow juicers that I've tested to date. I mean, the Nama is an amazing machine, and I want to thank you guys for staying to the end of this video. It shows me that you are committed to your health, so why not commit to your health by getting the Nama J2 juicer? You can do it now at namawell.com, and once again, use that coupon code UPGRADE55 to save $55 off. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.